Hi, I'm Matthew, one of the co-inventors of Castle's card game. In this tutorial, we're going to start with the basic overview of all the cards and what they do. We're going to go in a little bit in depth into some of the special cards, and then we're going to end with narrating around the gameplay. In this section, we're going to just quickly go over all the different types of cards in the game. There are 4. Starting over here, we have the castle cards. They're the building block of the game. Everybody starts with 1, and it's how you win or lose the game. They have a base value of 5, but they can be upgraded, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Moving over here, we have the attack and defense cards. They range from 10 all the way to 4. They're used to defend your castles or attack your castles, and the values add up accordingly, and we'll get into depth when we go into the gameplay section later. Down here, we have the special cards. You'll notice some of the special cards actually have a value on them, and that is because they act as a defense card as well. And then finally, the last section over here is the castle upgrade section. They actually upgrade your castle from the value of 5 to whatever value is on the card. They are not defense cards, and they cannot be removed like a defense card. So now let's go into what some of the special cards do. So in this section, we're going to briefly talk about all the special cards and go in depth into what each of them does. So to start this section, we're actually going to talk about a card that is not a special card, the castle upgrade card. You may play as many castle upgrade cards during your turn as you wish. Castle upgrades are played under any defense cards that are present, like that, to upgrade the castle's value from 5 to, in this case, 8. Now, castle upgrade cards may not be removed like a defense card. When you play enough attack cards, in this case 10, which is more than 8, to remove, you remove this entire castle from play. So, our first special card is Sabotage. Sabotage is used to remove the topmost defense card off of any player's castle. So if this were another player and I played a Sabotage, it would remove, I could choose to remove either the 4 or the 3. I could not remove the 6 because it is below the 4. Our next special card is the Rush Defense card. This card can be played in 2 ways. If these cards were in my hand together, I could, 1, either discard the Rush Defense card and play 2 defense cards on my turn, or I could play the Rush Defense card as one of my 2 defense cards. Either way, Rush Defenses allows you to play 2 defense cards on 1 turn. Our next card is the Block card. Block card is used to deflect or block any player's attack against you or any other player of your choice. The Block card can be played at any time. If these were my castles and someone played a 5 on me on their turn, I could play my Block card and their attack would be no good. If I play a Block card, it makes me immune to attack for the rest of that player's turn. Also, if I play the Block card for an ally, it makes them immune for the rest of that player's turn. It does not make me immune if I play it for an ally. Our next special card is the Cannon Fire card. This card is used to remove the topmost defense cards off of every castle on the table except your own, or your puppets. So, if this were an enemy and I played a Cannon Fire on the discard, it would remove both topmost off of theirs. If these were my castles and I played a Cannon Fire card, it would do nothing. Our next card is the Jester card. This card has two different functions. The first function is to steal a castle. In this case, if this were an opponent and I played a Jester card on the discard, I could choose to steal this castle and claim it as my own. The second function of the Jester is when there's an undefended castle or multiple undefended castles. You play it on the discard and you tell people that you are removing all undefended castles from the table. This includes your own. So if this was an enemy's castles, it would remove this card because castle upgrades are not defenses. If these were my castles, it would also still remove this castle from the table. Our next card is the Alliance card. This card is used to invite another player to play attack cards on your turn. They can reject this offer, and they can also attack you. So, for example, if this were an enemy and I wanted to invite someone else to attack them on my turn, I would play an Alliance card and invite them in, and I could play my 5 and they could play their 6 to remove both of these cards from the enemy. Our next card is the Puppet card. If you play a Puppet card on the discard, there must be a player who is out of the game, and when that happens, you bring them back in. They will get one castle that they can draw from either the discard, or if there is no castles in the discard, they can look through the deck and shuffle it afterwards, and then they will draw 3 cards. For the rest of the time that they are alive, they do exactly what you say. They play exactly how you say. So, you could tell them to play their cards on whoever you want. So, if a puppet dies, the person who brought the puppet in is still alive. But if the person who brought the puppet in dies, the puppet they brought in also dies. So, a puppet does not have to be killed to win the game. If there's 3 players left, one owns the puppet and the other one is a puppet and the other one does not own the puppet, the one without the puppet kills the one who owns the puppet, that player wins. In the next section, we will quickly play a couple hands just to show you how gameplay looks. So I dealt us out a game of castles. I gave everybody 1 face-up castle card and 5 face-down cards for their hand. So the way you win castles, there's 2 ways. The first way is to collect 6 castles and hold them for a full turn around the table. The second way is to kill all the other players except puppets. So the game always starts with 2 rounds apiece, so you may not play attack cards or special cards in the first 2 rounds. So let's look at my hand. So I've got 1 attack card that I can't play for 2 rounds, a rush defense special card, castle upgrade, defense, and a castle card. So there's only 1 limit on the amount of cards you could play. You could potentially play all 5 cards in your hand in 1 turn. However, you may not play more than 1 defense card without using a rush defense card. So I'll start my turn. Since I dealt, I will start. I'll start by placing my castle upgrade card on my castle and my castle. I can play as many castle cards as I have and as many castle upgrade cards as I have. I will also use my rush defense as a defense card to play my other defense card. Now, since I may not play attack cards for 2 rounds, I'm going to discard this card, and a turn always ends by drawing 5 cards. If you play when it is not your turn, at the end of that player's turn, make sure you have 5 cards.
Since the game goes in a clockwise rotation, I will be playing next. So if we take a look at my hand, I have one defense card, a rush defenses card, two low offense cards, and a block. So how I'm going to play my turn is I'm going to play my peasants cards, my defense, on top of my castle, and I'm going to play my rush defenses on top of it in substitute of another card, another defense card. So since I have two low offense cards, I'm not going to be able to play them in the first 2 rounds of the game. So I'm going to discard them. However, I'm going to keep holding on to my block card because I'm going to want that later on. I'm going to draw to a 5 once more.
All right, and now it continues to my turn. The cards that I drew were 2 attack cards, a 4 and an 8, a defensive 6 card, a castle upgrade card, and then a cannon fire special card. Personally, what I would do is I would take the castle upgrade card and place that onto my pre-existing castle, and then I would take the 6 defense card and also place that onto the castle. And then since we are not attacking, I would take my 2 attack cards that I drew and place them into the discard pile, hoping for a possible change in the card. I would keep the cannon fire, trying to think ahead about attacking.
So next is my turn. I have 2 castle upgrades, 2 attack cards, and 1 special attack card. So since I don't have any defense cards, I want to use my highest castle upgrade to defend my castle from any attacks. I'm going to now discard these 2 cards, my castle upgrade and my attack card, because I cannot use them for this turn. I'm going to keep both of these cards because while I can't attack for 2 rounds, I think these are good cards to hold on to just in case. I'm going to now draw to have 5 cards in my hand.
Alright, that's the end of the first round. Going into the second round apiece. I drew a 5, an 8, and a 4 defense card, an alliance card, and a 6 attack card. I'm going to play my highest defense card on one of my castles, and I can't play any of these cards, and an alliance card is not very helpful to me right now, so I'm just going to discard in hopes that I get better cards.
Now it's my turn. So as you can see, I have a lot of defense cards. I'm going to play my highest defense card on top of my castle, which has a max 3 capacity of defense cards you can play on top of it. So since I have no use for these, I will put them in the discard pile, and in hopes for better attacking cards for the next round. I'm going to hold on to my other block though that I drew because it's going to be helpful later on in the game.
Alright. Moving on, in my deck I now have the cannon fire from the last round, along with a 7 attack card, a puppet special card, an additional castle, and then an alliance card. Looking at this, there's not really much I can do. I will place the castle down in case of someone. There's not really too much of a risk of someone stealing this, since this isn't drastically better than this one. And then as far as these go, I'll still keep the cannon fire, and I'll keep the 7 just for attacking purposes for the next round. However, since I have no use for these right now, I'm going to discard them in hopes for better cards.
So next is my turn. I drew 2 defense cards, 1 attack card from last round, my same sabotage card from last round, and an alliance card. So I'm going to immediately play my rush defense card, which allows me to play an additional defense card on my turn. And now I'm going to discard my attack card because I am the last person to use my attack cards. I'm going to try to get better attack cards.
Okay, 2 rounds apiece are over, so I will be the first to play attack cards. So my attack cards need to add up to equal or greater value than the cards that I'm trying to remove. For example, my 5 and my 6 can add up to remove her 10, but my 5 cannot remove his 6. So I'm going to play my 5 and my 6 together to remove her 10. Then I have 2 defense cards, so I'm gonna go ahead and play the highest one now. And then I have an 8 left, so I'm gonna use my 8 to remove his 4 and his 3.
That's going to cut me down quite a bit, so I'm going to use one of the block cards that I saved from earlier to block his attack.
So if I had more attack cards, I could not play them on him, but I could play them on somebody else. I don't, and I've already played my defense card. So I'm just going to discard this because I think I have a lot of defense cards already. Draw 5.
And I will also draw to get 5 before my turn starts. So now it's my turn. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 10, which is a defense card, and I'm going to replace one of my lower defense cards on my castle. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to take this out, put it in the discard pile, move the topmost defense card up, and then place my trebuchet down. Next I have the other 2 defense cards, which aren't really going to be doing me any good for this round, so I'm just going to discard those. Lastly, I have my Sabotage, which is a special offense card, and I'm going to use it to attack Matt, his Knight's card. He cannot block that. And then that's the end of my turn.
Alright. Looking at my hand currently, we notice I have 2 cannon fire cards now, along with a 7 and 9 attack and a castle upgrade. Looking pretty good. So first I'm going to put the castle upgrade on top of my castle that does not currently have an upgrade on it. Looking for the other players, I noticed that the player across from me and to the left of me only have 2 layers maximum of defense. But the player to my right has 3 layers of defense, so if I want to be fully effective and using my cannon fires, I'm going to target eliminating some of his defense before I use my cannon fires. How I'm going to do that is I'm going to take this 9, place it on the discard, and I'm going to ask that he take his 4 and 5 off of his castle currently. And then I'm going to place both of my cannon fires on the discard and ask that all players remove their top 2 layers of defense off their castles. Then I now do have a 7. Looking around the table, I'm trying to personally do as much damage as possible just to increase my chances of becoming one of the final players. And so in order to do that, I'm going to use my 7 and target the player to my right for his castle.
I'm going to block that move so I do not die.
And then I'm out of cards at that point, and I will draw back up to 5.
So now looking at my hand, I have my Sabotage, Alliance, a Gesture card that I pulled, and then 2 attack cards. So now is where the strategy comes, where I can do many different things with my current hand. We're going to take my 2 cards, which are 5 and 4, which add up total to 9, and attack Tanner's 6. So it's greater than that, so it can take over. And now I can use my Gesture, which one of 2 ways can either steal a castle, so I can steal a castle here, or eliminate all untargeted, undefended castles. So I'm going to play my Gesture card to steal, because if I was to play it and target all undefended castles, I would also hurt myself. So I'm now going to draw to end my turn.
So we're going to fast forward play. Play continues like this until there are a few players left or 1 player left. We're going to show you now a puppet situation. So the game has progressed a little bit. There are only 3 players in the game and Reese is out. So it's my turn, and I'm going to start by playing my puppet card, which brings Reese back into the game. So he's going to start by looking through the discard, finding himself a castle, and then drawing 3 cards. Now, we can play on each other as much as we want, and he'll do everything that I ask of him. So I'm also going to play my castle card, and since I have a castle upgrade on this castle already, but the castle upgrade in my hand is better, I'm actually going to switch out my castle upgrades and discard my old one. Now I also have an attack card, but I can't use it, so I'm just going to discard it and draw 4 more.
So now it's my turn. As a puppet, I'm going to ask Matt what he thinks I should do with my hand.
So I'm going to have you play that castle on me, that castle for yourself, and that 8 for yourself.
And then I'll draw to 3 to complete my hand.
Alright. And then moving forward onto my hand, I have 2 castles with 1 castle upgrade, a rush defense, and then a 5 attack card. And in order to better my defenses, I'm going to place down these 2 castles along with the castle upgrade. I'm then going to put down one of my rush defenses onto the undefended castle in order to protect that. And then I'm going to try and use this 5 in order to slim down the puppet's extra castle right there.
But I'm actually going to block that, and then I'm going to draw to 5.
Alright. And in that case, I am out of cards in my hand, and so I'm going to draw back up to 5.
So before I start my turn with my hand, one strategy is to only have 1 castle, so that way if someone has a jester, they can't steal your other castle. So I'm going to start my turn by discarding a whole castle for myself. That way I only have 1. Now with my cards, I have a lot of attacking cards here. So now I can start going to each player and trying to optimize where I can place my cards. So I'm going to use the sabotage card to take the top 7 on Matt's card. I'm going to use the 9 to take the puppet's 8. And I'm going to use the 9 as well to take the rush defenses. Now everyone's castles except for mine are undefended, so one of the jester's uses is I can play it and all of the undefended castles have to be discarded, thus winning the game.
Shoot.
So she won the game, and if we were playing again, we would set it up the same way. 1 face-up castle for everyone, 5 face-down cards for their hand, and she would start the game because she is queen.